Milan fans, I think it's pretty fair for us to be asking some questions of our manager here, Sérgio Conceição. He got here 2 months ago. He took over a team that was in 8th place after a failed spell with tactician Paulo Fonseca. We won that Super Cup we had no business winning. But since then, we are now remain in 8th place. We are out of the Champions League to a Feyenoord team that is riddled with injuries. We are out of the top 4 race now, all but officially. And I'm not for 1 second putting everything on this man here, because Milan do have some deeper questions being asked, including of the ownership and the management. And of course, it's been 2 months, 10 player changes. We're playing 2 games a week, 3 games a week. Every single one has been high pressure. This is not the ideal way to build and gel and grow a young, new team, right? But we can ask questions. For example, that Feyenoord game was a weird one, right? Taking off Christian Pulisic and playing with no striker for, 12 minutes when you have to score a goal desperately. But for me, the biggest questions revolve around this man right here, João Felix, and the inexplicable accommodating we're doing, despite him not affecting games nearly enough. Look, in terms of talent, João Felix might be a top 10 player in the world, right? But like Ibra said during his press conference when João Felix got here, he was brought in to be the difference maker, right? To give us that bit of magic in the final third and unlock those low block defenses that Milan struggles so much with. And he's just not doing that. So far for Felix, he has 1 goal that came off the bench against Roma in the Coppa Italia game in his first game. And since then, he has started every single game. And mind you, they haven't been all bad. There's been some okay games in there. But he's not playing nearly enough to be starting every single one of those games. And even worse, in favoring João Felix, Conceição has now negatively impacted Tijani Reinders and Christian Pulisic, Milan's 2 best players all season, without question. When Felix joined, I did say it was exciting, it was intriguing, it's a big name joining our club, but it should not be a guarantee he starts, because right now in his role, that number 10 spot is Reinders, one of Milan's only consistent performers all year long. And clearly, I was wrong, because Conceição, for some reason, just handed the starting role to Felix, no questions asked. And in doing so, he's actually pushed Reinders further back in the pitch, so he's affecting games much less now going forward. And he's also taken off Christian Pulisic in favor of João Felix. Like the final game, for example, he takes off Pulisic to bring on Bartasagi after that Theo red card, but leaves on João Felix when we have to score a goal, and Pulisic has been our savior so many damn times this year. He keeps saying things like Christian's injured, he can't play a full 90, but against Torino, he did play a full 90, so which one is it? He's also starting Musa at right wing over Christian Pulisic, with Pulisic on the bench, and, let's say he's telling the truth and that Christian Pulisic is injured. I don't care. If he's on the bench and healthy enough to be on the bench, he can start that game. And in no world should Musa ever be starting right wing over Christian Pulisic. Conceição said when he got here that he found a team that was broken down and low on spirit, and I honestly feel like since then it's gotten worse, especially when you look at the drop-off of our best players like Reinders and Christian Pulisic. Matteo Benetti said on Twitter the other day that he has a theory that because George Mendes, who's the super agent of both João Felix and Conceição, the only logical explanation for Felix starting every single game these days is that George Mendes is basically forcing Conceição to play him every single game, which I don't know if that's true, but honestly, I've heard worse theories, and at this point, I might be on board with that, honestly. In Milan's last 5 games, they have failed to score more than 1 goal in all of them, and João Felix has started every single one of those games. Is it all his fault? Of course not, right? But clearly, it's not working that well, but he keeps starting him over and over and over again. Why? Again, it's important to stress that it's been 2 months, right? This team is still young. There's been so many player changes. To expect Conceição to have a solid, firing, cohesive team when they're playing high-pressure games every single time, in my opinion, is unrealistic. But at the same time, we're not getting better. If anything, we're getting worse, right? And I don't care what anybody says. This Milan team has talented players, a lot of them. We're seeing rumors now of Cesc Fabregas. I don't know how true those are. Conceição obviously also has a contract in a clause in his contract that Milan can let him go after 6 months if we fail to qualify for the Champions League, which obviously is likely now. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know if he's the guy. Like I said before, I'm here to ask questions, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below.